warning comes too late. High over eastern Ukraine, Russia's best fighter is rolling over in flames, and the jet that shot it down is a 40-year-old hand-me-down F-16. No Ukrainian F-16 has ever killed a Russian fighter, until this moment. No camera on either side caught the shot. The world only got the ending. Wreckage burning in a field in the eastern sector, filmed by a circling drone. And by Russian accounts, a parachute over the tree line, the pilot swinging beneath it, alive, watching tens of millions of dollars of air power burn below his boots. His jet was a Su-35, engine nozzles that swivel, letting it turn in ways no F-16 can follow. One of the most powerful radars ever bolted into a fighter's nose. The machine Russia built to own this sky and sells abroad as proof that it still can. The jet that beat it left a European factory while the Cold War was still on. 2 years ago, the air forces that owned it were retiring it. On July 8, 2026, the fighter that was supposed to be obsolete met the fighter that was supposed to be unbeatable, and won. Welcome back to Defense Declassified. On July 8th, the Ukrainian Air Force announced that one of its fighters had shot down a Russian jet in the eastern sector, and then said almost nothing else. Not the shooter, not the weapon, not the place. For 13 days, the kill lived where most claims of this war live, somewhere between announcement and proof. Then the proof arrived from Washington. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the most senior military officer in the United States, confirmed it to the Senate. A Ukrainian F-16 had fought a Russian fighter jet in the open sky and shot it down. The first air-to-air kill of its kind, ever, since American-built F-16s reached Ukraine in August of 2024. And by every indication from both sides of the front, the aircraft that went down was no relic. It was a Su-35, the most advanced fighter Russia flies in numbers, a machine that beats the F-16 on almost every line of the datasheet. So the whole episode turns on one question. How does a jet built in the 1980s, cast off by 4 European air forces, kill the fighter designed a generation later to dominate it? For more reconstructions of how modern air combat actually works, subscribe. Start with the machine Russia lost. The Su-35 is what happens when a country spends 30 years perfecting its best Cold War fighter. It is a flanker, the big twin-engine air superiority jet the Soviets built to duel America's finest, matured into something heavier, smarter, and far more dangerous. Its 2 engines end in movable exhaust nozzles, so the pilot can point the nose where aerodynamics alone would never take it. In that nose sits a radar Moscow claims can find fighter-sized targets hundreds of kilometers out. Western analysts have called this jet one of the most serious air-to-air threats Russia fields. Moscow sold it to China and parades it at every arms show as proof that Russian aviation still builds world beaters. The machine that killed it rolled off the line in the 1980s. Ukraine's F-16s are not the ones American squadrons fly today. They are early models, built for the Netherlands, Denmark, Belgium, and Norway. Some of them older than the pilots now strapping into them. In the 2000s, those countries rebuilt the cockpits, the radars, and the weapons in a program called the Midlife Update. Then, one by one, they retired them, and Ukraine received them the way a younger brother receives a winter coat. Used. Out of fashion. Better than nothing. From the day they arrived, the cast-offs went straight to work, and the work was not glory. Night after night, they flew against Russian cruise missiles and long-range attack drones, thinning the barrages aimed at Ukrainian cities. It was exhausting, dangerous flying, and it cost lives. Alexei Mess, callsign Moonfish, one of the first 6 Ukrainians trained on the type, was killed within a month of the jet's arrival, after downing 3 cruise missiles and a drone in a single sortie. For 2 years, that was the F-16's war. Missiles, drones, never a Russian fighter. On paper, a duel with a Su-35 was a fight to avoid. 1 engine and a modest radar against a machine built to win exactly that contest. Then one morning in July 8th, the eastern sector. What happened in that piece of sky? Ukraine will not fully say, and the silence is deliberate. The service that announced the kill has never named the shooter, the missile, the range, or the altitude. Every one of those details would teach Russia how to stop the next one. So the picture has to be assembled from the edges, from what each side let slip. Kiev spoke first, a Russian fighter, downed in air-to-air combat. Then the Russian side began to talk. a widely followed Russian military aviation channel, one with deep ties to Russia's own combat pilots, acknowledged the loss and described the fight as their side understood it. 3 enemy aircraft, it said, and a Patriot battery on the ground against a single Su-35. One claim, from one channel, never verified, and the Russian state has said nothing at all. But even that Russian telling concedes its pilot was alone and outnumbered 4-1. Analysts filling the gap converge on a single assessment. The killing shot was almost certainly a radar-guided missile, fired from beyond visual range. It means the two fighters likely never saw each other at all, only radar returns and warning tones. Combat at that distance is not a knife fight. It is an execution of arithmetic. Whoever is detected first is shot at first, and the missile crosses the final stretch faster than a human can finish reacting to the alarm. And there sits the mystery of July 8th. Seeing the enemy first is the entire reason the Su-35 exists. How the smaller jet got the first shot anyway is precisely the detail Kiev is protecting. One possible answer sits on the ground, and it is disputed. If the Russian account is believed, a Patriot battery was part of the fight. Whether its radar quietly cued the Ukrainian fighters, or its presence forced the Russian jet to fly differently, or, as Russian channels later insisted without evidence, the Patriot itself fired the killing shot, has never been settled. What is settled is the ending. Somewhere over the eastern sector, a Su-35 stopped being a fighter and became falling wreckage. A canopy blown clear, an ejection seat punching its pilot into the slipstream, a parachute opening in the July sky, and far below, a burning scar spreading through a field. By the Russian account, the pilot came down alive and was recovered by his own side. Then a drone camera found the wreck, circled it, and filmed the proof. 13 days later came the sentence that turned a claim into history. A hearing room in Washington. Senators, cameras, budget spreadsheets. General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, on the record. "We recently witnessed," he said, "the first air-to-air engagement in which a Ukrainian F-16 shot down a Russian fighter jet." Now listen to what the chairman confirmed and what he did not. He confirmed the kill, a Ukrainian F-16, a Russian fighter jet, the first. What he never named was the type. The Su-35 identification stands on 3 other legs: Ukraine's claim, the Russian channel's own admission, and the wreckage in the drone footage, picked apart frame by spotters around the world. 3 separate fingers pointing at the same aircraft, and not one of them American. Even now, one defense outlet publicly doubts that the F-16 fired the shot at all. That doubt exists. So does the testimony of the highest-ranking officer in the United States military. For 2 years, the record said Ukrainian F-16s killed missiles and drones and left Russian fighters alone. Now the record says something new, and every flanker crew within reach of the front can read it. The sky behind the Russian line is no longer safe by default. And for Russia's arms industry, the wound goes deeper than one airframe. The Su-35 is an export flagship, the fighter Moscow offers when it needs to prove its aviation still leads. China bought 2 dozen. Iran has spent years waiting for its own. Now the aircraft's record carries a new line, entered before the United States Senate. Shot down, in air-to-air combat, by a 1980s F-16. Fair or not, a line like that follows a fighter for the one kill is not air superiority. Ukraine's F-16s remain outnumbered, and most nights they are still flying the old mission, hunting the missiles and drones aimed at sleeping cities. But air wars turn on precedent, and this one now exists. The machine that was supposed to be obsolete, flown right, beat the machine that was supposed to be unbeatable. So the question both air forces now live with is simple. Was July 8th a fluke of geometry, one perfect shot that will never line up the same way again? Or was it the first entry in a ledger? More hand-me-down fighters are promised to Ukraine, and its pilots now know something no simulator could teach. The shot can be taken, and it works. The next time a flanker falls out of the eastern sky, you will hear about it here. Until then, stay sharp.